I understand you are speaking at the Reckless Renewables rally on Tuesday outside Parliament House, among many other great guests, great speakers. Could you tell us what that event involves? What's it all about?
Yeah, look, I'm really looking forward to it. I haven't actually been to Canberra for many, many years. This is a rally that's been organised chiefly by people living in regional parts of New South Wales who have really had a gutful of the renewables that are being fast-tracked and pushed into regions, often at the expense of the local business communities and indeed residents. There are on foot a number of renewable projects, offshore and indeed onshore wind farms, that are really contentious and causing a great deal of concern, including the Port Stephens offshore wind farm that's being proposed and the Illawarra offshore wind farm. The residents are concerned. This is a rally where people are coming from different parts of New South Wales to get together in the heart of democracy in front of Australian Parliament, and they want to send a really strong message that why should Australians have to endure high energy costs, destruction of their local community, their local environment, the businesses that rely heavily on tourism and on water-related industries as well, when you're seeing particularly with Port Stephens that rely heavily on their fishing industry. These renewable projects will destroy much of what the communities are so used to, and they're being done and being fast-tracked by both federal and New South Wales Labor without any real consultation or discussion with locals or indeed with local businesses. And we know that it won't actually reduce energy costs. We know that these unreasonable net zero targets that have been pushed through in Australia and indeed in New South Wales. In fact, in New South Wales, I should mention, Daisy, we have the worst and most draconian net zero targets in the country that were passed in the late hours at the end of parliamentary session in November, where we now have, not only do we have the 2030 50% target, we've also got a 70% 2035 target, which is completely unreasonable. It'll mean that most of the power stations, if not all of the remaining power stations, will be forced to shut, and they will fast-track these renewable projects that are very costly, untested, and being really opposed by the local communities, and rightly so. So this is a rally where we're trying to get attention to the federal media, try to get the attention across to all the different major political parties, and there will be speakers from everyone but Labor and the Greens. So that's surprise, surprise, but hopefully they will hear the rally, because I expect there will be thousands of people. I know there are buses being coordinated from different parts of New South Wales and indeed other parts of the country as well. People are going down in droves. They want to get the message across that it should be about people and not about this sort of mad net zero target that we know isn't in the interests of Australia whatsoever.
Gosh, it's amazing. We've seen so many people attending these rallies recently. Do you think this accurately reflects the sentiment of the Australian public generally towards renewable energy and the transition to it?
I think so. I think once people realise what actually is involved, they do start to become quite concerned. And I found very interesting when I was down in the Illawarra rally that I met a lot of people that aren't necessarily Conservative voters. Some of them were telling me they voted Greens, they voted Labor, and they were people that ordinarily care about the environment, and they took the position that they were opposed to this offshore wind farm that's been proposed for Illawarra because they deeply care about the water there and the beaches there and the environment there. So people are starting to realise that, you know, these renewables are not going to be what they crack up to be. Essentially, they are a costly exercise, an untested exercise, but one that's, you've got to question, where's the real benefit? Are we, and ultimately, this idea that we're going to fast track them in a country that can't really make much of a difference on the world stage when it comes to emissions. We're really irrelevant when it comes to countries like China and India, who are pursuing and continuing to build power stations. They're not going to give up on coal. They're not giving up on these energy resourcing markets that are doing really well. But we are, apparently, even though we're a very resource-rich country that should be actually be at the head of the market when it comes to these type of industries. We're right.
Exactly.
So it's a real concern, and I'm really happy to see that lots of different people are going to this rally. I'm looking forward to speaking at it, and my colleagues, both Pauline Hanson, federal colleagues, and indeed Michael Roberts will be speaking at this rally as well.